They ran pressurized water uphill to their cabins for 100 years without a single electric pump. No pipe bill, no utility hookup, no permission from anyone. And the TVA spent 50 years making sure you never heard how they did it. My name is Earl Cutter, and today I'm going to show you 3 separate water systems the mountain men used. The first one moves water uphill using nothing but the water itself. The second one works on flat ground with no moving parts at all. And the third one, I'm going to save that one for the end because it is the most surprising system I have ever come across in all my time studying these hollers.
Called a hydraulic ram pump. And what this is just 2 check valves and then a hollow PVC pipe here. And then I just have some valves that I can turn on and off here, but these aren't necessary. The working parts are these 2 check valves right here and right here. Let me show you what this can do, and then I'm going to explain how it's working. It seems like it's breaking the second law of thermodynamics, but it's not actually. Okay, so what I have here is just a bucket of water.
Stay with me to the end, because if you've got land and water anywhere near you, this last method changes everything. Let me start with the scam. Right now, the average American family pays somewhere between $600 and $900 a year just for water delivery to their home. That's the pump, the pressure tank, the electricity to run it, and the utility fees on top of it. If you have a well, you're paying for the pump, the installation, the maintenance, and the electricity to pull that water up. If something breaks, you're calling a plumber at $150 an hour. If the power goes out, you have no water. You are completely dependent on a system designed to extract money from you every single month for the rest of your life. And here's the part that makes me angry every time I think about it. The TVA, the Tennessee Valley Authority, was created in 1933 with the stated goal of bringing modern infrastructure to the rural South. They ran power lines into the hollers. They built DMs. They transformed the region. And in doing so, they replaced every single independent water system those mountain men had built with grid-dependent alternatives. They didn't just offer electricity. They made the old ways look primitive. They wrote them out of the engineering textbooks. They pushed building codes that effectively outlawed the systems these families had used for generations. Why? Because independent water means independent families. And independent families don't pay utility bills. Think about that for a moment. A system that works with no electricity, no moving parts, no monthly fees, and no professional installation, that system is a threat to an industry built on making you dependent. The TVA was built on dependency, and the hydraulic ram pump was the first thing they buried. So let me show you what they buried. The hydraulic ram pump, mountain men called it the Hydram, is one of the most elegant pieces of engineering ever created. Here is how it works, and pay close attention, because once you understand this, you are never going to look at a mountain creek the same way again. You need a creek or a spring, not a big one. A small, fast-moving stream with even a 2-foot drop somewhere along its length. That drop is your power source. Not electricity, not fuel, gravity and momentum. Here is what you build. You need a drive pipe. That is a pipe that runs from your water source down to the ram pump. The longer this pipe, the more pressure you can build. Mountain men used iron pipes salvaged from old fence posts, drilled out and threaded together. You need the pipe to drop at least 2 feet over its length. The steeper the drop, the more power you generate. At the bottom of the drive pipe, you install the ram pump housing. Old-timers built these from cast iron pipe fittings and 2 check valves. A check valve is a valve that only opens in one direction. Water can push it open going one way, but it slams shut against reverse flow. You need 2 of them. The total cost for the fittings and valves at a hardware store runs about $8 to $12. That is the entire cost of this system. Here is what happens. Water flows down your drive pipe and builds up speed. It hits the first check valve, called the waste valve, and pushes it open. Water rushes through, but because water has momentum, it keeps accelerating until the sudden rush of water causes a pressure spike, a water hammer, that slams the waste valve shut instantly. That pressure spike has nowhere to go, so it forces open the second check valve, the delivery valve, and pushes a small amount of water up your delivery pipe. The delivery valve snaps shut, then the cycle resets and starts over. Tap, tap, about 60 to 100 times a minute, every hour, every day, with zero electricity and no moving parts except those 2 valves. A properly built Hydram system will push water uphill to heights 7 to 8 times greater than the drop of your source water. If you have a 2-foot drop to the pump, you can push water 14 to 16 feet uphill. If you have a 4-foot drop, you can reach 28 to 32 feet of elevation. Mountain men ran water from creek hollows up to ridgeline cabins, 40 to 50 feet above the source, using nothing but this system and salvaged iron pipe. Write that down. 2-foot drop delivers water 14 to 16 feet up. 4-foot drop delivers water 28 to 32 feet up. That is the formula. I've been sitting on this next part for a while because it is the one that stops people cold. But you need to hear it all, so stay with me. Before I get into the second system, hit that subscribe button right now. Then drop your home state in the comments. The algorithm uses that data to find other independent families just like yours. Don't let this get buried. Now, the second system. This one is for flat ground. This one is for people who say, Earl, I don't have a hill. I don't have a 2-foot drop. I just have a pond or a low-pressure spring. The mountain men had an answer for that too. It is called the spring box and gravity feed, and it requires no moving parts whatsoever. Here's the principle. Even flat ground is not truly flat. Find your water source, a spring, a seep, a small pond. Dig out around the source and build a stone and clay collection box, sealed tight, that captures the water as it emerges from the ground. The water table pushes water into that box under natural ground pressure. Seal the top with a flat stone or wood lid mortared with clay. Run a pipe from the bottom of that box horizontally. Even a slight downhill grade of 1 inch per 10 feet is enough to your storage tank. The key is to put the storage tank below the level of the collection box. Even a 12-inch drop over 50 feet of pipe is enough to keep water moving. Once your tank is full, gravity does the delivery. Mount your tap or spigot at the bottom of the tank, and natural pressure, nothing more than the weight of water above the tap, delivers clean, cold spring water to your hand. Mountain men installed these systems to serve entire families for generations. No pump, no electricity, no motor to seize up in January when you need water most. The collection boxes I have seen in the old hollers, some of them are still running. Stone boxes sealed with clay mortar, laid up by men who are long dead, still delivering cold spring water today. A properly built spring box gravity system like this will maintain 40 to 50 degrees year-round in its collection box. Mountain men kept butter, milk, and perishables right at the spring box in crocks and ceramic jars, and lost almost nothing to spoilage. They didn't need a refrigerator. They had physics. Now, the third system, this is the one I promised you at the start. And I want you to really hear this, because if you have any source of moving water on your property, even a small drainage ditch, even seasonal runoff, this method turns it into free mechanical power for anything you want to run. The mountain men called it the flutter wheel or the tub mill wheel. Hydraulic engineers call it an undershot water wheel. The mountain men understood something that modern engineers spent a century trying to formalize: that moving water contains enormous amounts of mechanical energy that can be extracted with nothing more than flat paddles mounted on a rotating axle. Here is how they built it. Find a location where water moves with any force at all, even a small creek with a modest current. Build a wooden frame over the creek and mount a horizontal or vertical axle across it. Cut flat wooden paddles, 8 to 12 inches wide, 1 inch thick, from oak or hickory planks. Attach those paddles around the circumference of the wheel, evenly spaced. As the water strikes the paddles, the wheel turns. That axle can run a grindstone, a pump, a bellows for a forge, a threshing mechanism, a butter churn. Anything that needs rotating mechanical power. Mountain men built tub mill wheels for about $4 in iron hardware and a day's work in timber. A wheel 3 feet in diameter in a creek moving at 3 miles per hour generates enough torque to run a continuous grinding stone. They ground corn, wheat, and dried beans throughout the winter without burning a single calorie of human effort. The TVA didn't just bury the Hydram, they buried this knowledge too. Because the moment you understand that moving water is free mechanical and electrical power, power that never stops, never needs refueling, never sends you a bill, you stop being a customer. And they cannot have that. I want to stop here for a moment because I know what some of you are thinking. You are thinking, Earl, this sounds too simple. If this worked, why isn't everyone doing it? And that is exactly the right question. Here is the exact answer. In 1938, the Rural Electrification Act provided federal loans to utility cooperatives to extend the electrical grid into rural America. By 1950, over 90% of American farms had electrical service. The utility companies that built that infrastructure needed customers, lots of them, paying monthly bills forever. A family running a Hydram and a Springbox gravity system doesn't need the grid. A family running a tub mill wheel doesn't need the grid. So the grid came with something attached. A culture of dependency. An assumption that independent systems were backward. A set of building codes and health regulations that over time made the old systems harder and harder to use legally. That is not a conspiracy theory. That is the documented history of rural electrification policy in America. Here is what I want you to take away from today. You do not need permission to understand physics. You do not need a utility hookup to have pressurized water. You do not need a $6,000 well drilled by a licensed contractor. You need a creek, 2 check valves, and $8 in iron fittings. And if you don't have a hill, you need a spring, a stone box, and a length of pipe. If you have moving water at all, you have mechanical power waiting to be harvested. The men in these hollers understood something that the TVA spent 50 years trying to make everyone forget. Water runs downhill. Pressure moves things. Physics works whether the power company is involved or not. They didn't lose this knowledge. They buried it. And I am done letting that stand. If this is the kind of suppressed engineering you want to keep seeing, click on the video right here next. I go deep into the $4 coil system that slows your electric meter down to almost nothing, and the mountain men who used it never paid a full power bill in their lives. The link in the description has the original 1921 suppressed blueprints for everything I showed you today. Download them before this video gets taken down. And hit that like button right now. Every like keeps this knowledge alive for one more family who needs it.